Hello, dear listeners. Today, I'm sharing a story that's particularly meaningful, one about learning, growing, and discovering what true wisdom really means. So settle in, get comfortable, and let me tell you about a boy named Marcus Bennett. The boy who knew too much. Marcus Bennett considered himself the smartest student in 7th grade at Riverside Middle School. He could solve math problems faster than anyone else, caught every grammar mistake in English class, and never missed a question on science quizzes. But there was something Marcus hadn't learned yet, something more important than all his book knowledge combined. It all started on his first week of school. During group work in history class, his teammate Emma was presenting their project when she mispronounced the word Renaissance. Marcus interrupted loudly, "It's Renaissance, not Renaissance. If you're going to present, at least get the pronunciation right." Emma's face turned red. The rest of the class fell silent. You could have heard a pin drop. In PE class, when his classmate Jake missed an easy catch, Marcus shook his head and called out, "That was terrible. My little sister could have caught that. You need to keep your eye on the ball." During lunch, he corrected Sophia's explanation of photosynthesis. "Actually, you're completely wrong. Chlorophyll absorbs red and blue light, not green. That's why plants look green. They reflect it." By the end of the first month, something strange started happening. When Marcus entered the cafeteria, conversations would stop. When teachers assigned group work, no one wanted to be his partner. During breaks, his classmates formed circles that somehow never had space for him. Marcus told himself they were jealous. He was just trying to help them improve after all. But as weeks turned into months, the loneliness grew heavier. He'd watch his classmates laughing together, sharing snacks, making plans for the weekend. Meanwhile, he sat alone at his desk, checking homework that no one asked to see. One Friday evening, Marcus found his dad, Robert, in the garage working on an old bicycle. His dad was a high school teacher who always seemed to know the right thing to say. Tonight, Marcus needed that wisdom more than ever. "Dad," Marcus began, his voice cracking slightly, "can I talk to you?" Robert set down his wrench immediately. "Of course, son. What's on your mind?" And the words just tumbled out. "Everyone at school hates me. They avoid me. They don't want to work with me. But I don't understand why. I'm only trying to help them. When Emma mispronounces words, I correct her so she won't be embarrassed later. When Jake makes mistakes in sports, I point them out so he can improve. I just want everyone to do their best. Why do they hate me for caring?" Robert was quiet for a moment, wiping grease from his hands. Then he pulled up 2 old stools, and they sat facing each other. "Marcus, let me tell you a story," his dad began. "When I first started teaching 15 years ago, I was a lot like you. I'd mark every tiny error in red ink. I'd interrupt students mid-sentence to correct their grammar. I thought I was being helpful." "What happened?" Marcus asked. "My students did well on tests, but they stopped participating. They stopped asking questions. They were so afraid of being corrected that they stopped trying. Then one day, my principal pulled me aside. He said something I'll never forget. 'Robert, people will never remember how much you knew. They'll remember how you made them feel.'" Marcus frowned. "But if people make mistakes, shouldn't someone tell them?" "Here's the thing," Robert said, leaning forward. "Remember when you wanted to learn skateboarding last summer? You kept falling, and I knew exactly what you were doing wrong. But did I shout out every mistake?" "No," Marcus admitted. "You showed me videos first. You praised me when I kept my balance for even a second. You told me about your own skateboarding disasters when you were young." "Exactly. And remember when I did point out what to improve?" Marcus thought back. "You asked me questions, like, what do you think would happen if you shifted your weight this way? You didn't just tell me I was wrong." His dad smiled. "Now you're getting it. Marcus, the truth is, people already know when they've made a mistake. Your classmates know when they mispronounce a word or miss a catch. What they need isn't someone to highlight their failures. They need someone who believes they can do better." "So what should I do differently?" Marcus asked. Robert stood up and grabbed a notepad. "Let me give you some tools. But first, let's talk about those specific situations you mentioned. Let's start with Emma and the mispronunciation." He sat back down, his teacher instincts kicking in. When Emma said Renaissance wrong in front of the class, what do you think she needed in that moment? Marcus thought about it. "I guess, to finish her presentation without being embarrassed?" Exactly. And here's what you need to understand. Public correction is public humiliation. It doesn't matter how right you are or how helpful you think you're being. When you correct someone in front of others, you're essentially saying, "I'm smart, you're not," for everyone to hear. "But I didn't mean it that way," Marcus protested. "I know you didn't, but that's how it feels. So here's what you could have done instead. First, let her finish. Just let the presentation happen. Most times, a small mispronunciation doesn't even matter. But if you genuinely want to help, here's the key. Wait until you're alone together." Robert leaned forward. After class, you could approach Emma privately and say something like, "Hey Emma, your presentation was really well researched. I loved the part about the Renaissance artists. By the way, I used to mispronounce that word too. I said it wrong for years until my dad gently corrected me. It's one of those tricky ones. Do you see the difference?" Marcus nodded slowly. "I mentioned my own mistake first." "Right, you made it about shared experience, not about her being wrong. And you did it privately, so there's no shame involved. You also started with genuine praise about what she did well. This is crucial, Marcus. People are much more receptive to helpful feedback when they know you appreciate their efforts first." "What about Jake?" Marcus asked. "With the catch in PE?" Robert thought for a moment. "That's a different scenario because it's more public and in the moment. Here's what I want you to understand about athletic mistakes. Everyone already saw it happen. Jake knows he missed the catch. His teammates know it. So when you point it out, especially with that tone about your little sister, what are you adding?" "Nothing helpful," Marcus admitted quietly. "Worse than nothing, you're piling on. You're making him feel worse about something he already feels bad about. Now, if you want to actually help Jake improve, here's what you do. During the game or practice, say nothing except encouragement, 'Good try,' or 'We'll get the next one.' After the game, if you're genuinely friends and he seems open to it, you might say something like, 'Hey, I've been working on my catching too. Want to practice together sometime?' I found this video that really helped me with tracking the ball." Marcus was taking mental notes, so I'm offering to help, not just criticizing. Exactly, and you're making it collaborative. Let's improve together, rather than you being the expert showing someone else what they're doing wrong. Plus, you're doing it at a time when he can actually use the advice, not in the heat of the moment when emotions are high. What if he says no to practicing together? Then you respect that and drop it. Not everyone wants help, and that's okay. Your job isn't to fix everyone, Marcus. Your job is to be a good friend and teammate. Sometimes that means offering help. Sometimes that means just being supportive. Robert picked up a wrench, turning it over in his hands as he considered the next example. Now, let's talk about Sophia and the photosynthesis explanation. This one's interesting because it was a factual error, and I know how much you value getting facts right. "She was wrong, though," Marcus said. "If she doesn't understand it correctly, she'll fail the test." Maybe, but think about this. How did you, correcting her in front of the lunch table, help her understand it better? Marcus paused. "I guess it didn't really. I just told her she was wrong." Right. You pointed out the error but didn't help her understand why it was an error or how to think about it correctly. And you did it in a way that probably made her feel stupid in front of her friends. Here's a better approach. You could have said, photosynthesis is confusing. I remember struggling with the whole light absorption thing. Sophia, what helped me was thinking about it like this. Plants look green because that's the color they don't need. They're keeping the red and blue light. Does that way of thinking about it make sense? That's basically saying the same thing, Marcus objected. Is it? Think about the difference. In your version, you started with, "You're completely wrong." In my version, I started with, "This is confusing," and I struggled too. One makes her feel dumb. The other makes her feel normal. One is you lecturing down at her. The other is you sharing a helpful way of thinking about a difficult concept. Robert stood up and started pacing, the way he did when he was really getting into a teaching moment. Marcus, here's the fundamental principle you need to understand. When you see someone making a mistake, you have to ask yourself 3 questions before saying anything. First, does this need to be corrected right now, or can it wait? Second, am I the right person to help with this? And third, how can I help in a way that builds them up rather than tears them down? Can you give me more examples? Marcus asked. Like, what if someone's doing something that really will cause problems if they don't fix it? Good question. Let's say you're working on a group project and someone's part is genuinely off track in a way that will hurt everyone's grade. Here's how you handle it. First, acknowledge what they've done. I can see you put a lot of work into this section. That's important. Recognize the effort. Then, frame it as a team problem, not their problem. I'm worried our project might not match what Mr. Johnson's rubric is asking for. Can we look at it together? Then make it collaborative. What if we tried approaching it this way? I could help you with this part if you'd like. Marcus was absorbing every word. So I'm making it about us, not about them being wrong. Exactly, and you're offering to help fix it, not just pointing out the problem. That's the difference between criticism and leadership. A critic points out what's wrong. A leader helps make it right. Robert sat back down, looking at his son with pride and concern mixed together. Marcus, I want to teach you something else that took me years to learn. Before you correct anyone, try this. Pause and ask yourself if what you're about to say will make things better or just make you feel smart. If you're correcting someone mainly to show off your knowledge, don't say it. But if you genuinely believe your input will help them and you can deliver it with kindness and respect, then find the right time and place. How do I know which is which? Marcus asked. Here's a test. Ask yourself, if someone said what I'm about to say to me in the same tone and setting, would I feel helped or hurt? If the honest answer is hurt, then you need to either change your approach or stay quiet. Marcus sat with this for a moment. Dad, I think I've really messed up. All those times I thought I was helping, I was actually hurting people. The fact that you recognize that now shows you're growing up. And here's something important to remember. People are forgiving when they see genuine change. You can't undo the past, but you can start fresh on Monday. How do I do that? Marcus asked, a hint of hope in his voice. Robert pulled out his notepad and started writing. Here's your action plan. First, when you see someone doing something well, tell them, build people up. Emma, that was a great point you made in class. Jake, nice throw. Just genuine compliments with no corrections attached. Do this for at least 2 weeks before offering any kind of critical feedback to anyone. He continued writing. Second, share your own failures. When someone makes a mistake, find a time you made a similar one and mention it naturally. I always mix up those 2 formulas too. This shows you're human and makes others feel safer around you. Third, if you must point something out, do it privately, gently, and quickly. Start with something positive, make your suggestion as a question or option, and end with encouragement. Never, ever correct someone in front of a group unless it's a safety issue. Marcus took the notepad, studying his dad's handwriting. What if I mess up? What if I correct someone without thinking? You probably will, Robert said honestly. Habits take time to change. But here's what you do when that happens. You apologize, right away. I'm sorry, that came out wrong. I didn't mean to embarrass you. People respect someone who can admit when they've handled something poorly. Dad, can you give me one more example? What if I'm in class and the teacher asks a question and someone gives the wrong answer and then the teacher asks me? That's a great scenario because it's one where you can't avoid answering. Here's what you do. Give the right answer, but without throwing the previous person under the bus. Don't say, no, that's wrong, the answer is. Instead say, I think it might be this, but I can see why the other answer makes sense because. You're being correct without being cruel. You're showing respect for the other person's thinking process. Robert put his hand on Marcus's shoulder. Son, intelligence is a gift, but it's a gift meant to lift others up, not put them down. The smartest people I know aren't the ones who know the most. They're the ones who can help others learn without making them feel small. That's the kind of smart I hope you'll become. Marcus felt tears prickling his eyes. I just wanted to help everyone be better. I thought I was being a good friend. Your heart was in the right place, Robert said gently. You just needed to learn that the delivery matters as much as the message. It's like wrapping a gift. You could throw a wonderful present at someone and hurt them with it, or you could present it carefully and make them feel valued. The gift is the same, but the experience is completely different. Over the weekend, Marcus thought about everything his dad had said. He practiced in front of his mirror. Emma, your presentation was great. I especially liked your research. He tried different tones, different phrasings, imagining how each would feel if he were on the receiving end. On Monday morning, he tried something new. When Emma presented in English class, Marcus waited until after class. He approached her nervously. Emma, your analysis of the poem was really insightful. I never thought about the symbolism that way. Emma looked surprised but smiled. Thanks, Marcus. That means a lot. During PE, when Jake made a good throw, Marcus called out, "Nice one." Jake glanced over, clearly suspicious, but Marcus just gave a genuine thumbs up. Later, privately, he approached him. Hey, have you tried turning your body more when you throw? I had trouble with that too, but it helped me. Want to practice together sometime? Jake hesitated, then shrugged. Yeah, maybe. That could be cool. At lunch, when discussing the photosynthesis quiz, Marcus said, I actually got confused about chlorophyll last year. It's tricky stuff. Did Mrs. Peterson's diagram help you understand it? Sophia looked at him carefully, as if trying to figure out if this was a trick. When she saw he was genuinely asking, she relaxed a little. The changes didn't happen overnight. Some classmates were still wary, but slowly, conversations lasted a little longer. Smiles became more frequent. One day, Sophia asked if Marcus wanted to join their study group. Really? Marcus asked, surprised. Yeah, Sophia said. You actually explain things really well when you're not, you know? Being a know-it-all, Marcus finished with a self-deprecating smile. Sophia laughed. I wasn't going to say it, but yeah, you've been different lately. It's nice. By the end of the semester, Marcus realized something profound. Being smart meant nothing if you made people feel small. True intelligence was knowing not just facts, but hearts. And the way you shared knowledge mattered just as much as the knowledge itself. And the smartest thing he'd ever learned? His dad taught him that on a Friday evening in the garage without a textbook in sight. The wisdom wasn't in a formula or a fact, it was in understanding that people remember how you make them feel, and that helping others means building them up, not pointing out every flaw. A message to remember. Dear listeners, this story teaches us something beautiful and important. Knowledge is truly a gift, but it's a gift meant to build others up, not tear them down. Marcus learned that people respond better to encouragement than criticism, and that the way we help matters just as much as the help itself. Remember these key lessons. Public correction is public humiliation. Always help people privately. Start with genuine appreciation before offering any feedback. Share your own mistakes to create connection rather than distance. Make suggestions collaborative rather than critical. And finally, ask yourself if your words will help someone grow or just make you feel smart. When we start with appreciation, share our own imperfections, and guide others with gentle questions rather than harsh corrections, we create connections instead of divisions. The most important lesson? People will flourish under someone who believes in them, not someone who constantly reminds them of their faults. As you drift off to sleep tonight, remember this: be the person who makes others feel capable, not small. Be the person who lifts others up with your words. Be the kind of friend that Marcus learned to become. Sweet dreams, dear listeners. May you wake up tomorrow ready to be a light in someone's life. Good night.